Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, I am Anna Maria and you are watching Miracle Orchids, the place you can learn everything there is to know about growing orchids. In today's video we are going to repot this Psychopsis orchid that I have recently got. I am in a hurry to repot it because I doubt it has any alive roots. Then we are going to talk about its care and what I am going to care for it in the next period. And then I'm going to give you my care tips for this orchid, at least for the start, because this is my first Psychopsis. And remember, if you want more tutorials like this 7 days a week, go ahead and click that subscribe button over here so you know when I upload something new. And with that being said, let's get started. The medium seems to be very broken down. It is made from large chunks of bark, and I don't think this is a suitable medium for orchids. I have seen a bug which is horrible. I need to put my gloves. Now those horrible bugs which are very long and have a lot of legs. I have one of those here. So as I was saying, this medium is not suitable for Psychopsis because these are known to love a very moisture retaining medium, and although this one is moisture retentive because it is broken down, at the first it was not like that, and we can see that the medium is very broken down, and actually it smells horrible. It smells like mushrooms, like everything that is bad on this world actually. So yeah, I need to pay extra attention because I have a lot of new growths, and we already had a broken growth on transport, so I am going to keep it by its spike and stake, and maybe by one of its leaves and work around, because as I said, I don't want to harm the orchid in any way. It seems that I have really a lot of dead roots, and that is understandable because the orchid, it is in a decomposed medium which has killed the roots. This medium is very acidic, so I am quite sure the orchid has a calcium deficiency. Every time you have an orchid with a very acidic medium, a decomposing medium, so that would be most of the times all new orchids, that orchid has a very good chance to have a calcium deficiency. And to help the orchid actually recover faster, I also think my orchid has snails because I see some roots which are munched, but I also have some new root tips in here. So I will spray it very well with hydrogen peroxide too. So as I was saying, whenever you have this type of situation, I would really recommend you soak the orchid prior to repotting for 24 hours in a calcium solution with magnesium too, at about 80 ppm of calcium and 40 ppm of magnesium. I use Epsom salts for magnesium and a calcium nitrate from Cana. That one is a liquid form. It is very easy to do, to apply, but all you need to do it is not really mix it at the same time in the water. So first put the water, mix one of the nutrients, and then mix it the other one, because I have heard that they can react depending on the brand you are buying, but most of the times they will react and clog and form a solid mass at the bottom of the bucket. So you need to take care of that. As I was suspecting, my orchid has a ton of dead roots, and I'm not sure if I have any of them alive actually, but I'm sure my orchid will survive. I actually see a little snail on a new growth which was braked in transport, so I will try to show to you. It is super small. Do you see that? That is how small snails are. Really bad. So before I will actually transplant this orchid any further, after I completely clean off the dead roots, I will soak it for a few more hours in calcium, but that will be after I completely clean off the sheets. I spray it with hydrogen peroxide. I am very happy that my orchid is so big. I even think I have many of them in here, but I will leave it like that. So at this point I don't have any more medium, they are all only dead roots. So I will rinse the orchid really well, and I will come back to cut off the dead roots together. Alright, so now we are going to cut off the dead roots, and the dead roots will feel mushy, empty inside, hollow, or if you pull away on one of the roots, and you will remain with a string behind, like in this case. The string is the actual root, and this is the sponge. A dead root will behave like that, while an alive one will not leave the actual root behind. So I'm going to take a very close root on every single very close look on every single root, because I don't want to cut off any. Look, the bug I was telling you about. Hope you can see it here. It is, and it is crawling. It is horrible. I hate this type of bug. So now it's dead. Okay. So very gently I will cut off all the dead roots. Actually, I will bring you a bit closer. There we go. And even though some roots might seem green, they are hollow and they are dead because they died of dehydration. So I'm going to cut small parts until I reach any alive ones. And at this point, what I want to do, it is to spray the orchid really well with hydrogen peroxide 3%, which should kill any snails or snail eggs that might still be on this orchid. These are pretty much the roots that we are left with. Some of them are sickish but still alive, some of them seem to be alive, but these were aerial roots, so they have a much lesser chance to survive once potted, but I will take advantage to pot them because they should resist for about 1 to 2 months if they don't adapt more and actually survive, until the new roots from the new growths will start to push better. So right now I am going to spray it. And I will insist really well in between the suitobulbs, because this orchid is growing with a very short rhizome, and there are many places where I couldn't reach to cut off dead roots or anything. Like in here I don't have much space, so I'm going to spray very well so any snails will die. this for about 5 minutes, time in which I will bring up the pot and the medium. Now my orchid has been sitting like this for about 5 to 10 minutes, so it is time to pot her, and for this reason I will use a customized plastic pot for semi-hydro. Indeed, I am going to put her in semi-hydro because I think she has a lot of chances to adjust fast. She has some roots which I don't expect to survive for a lot of time, but they should survive for about 1 to 2 months until the new roots will be long enough, because indeed we are having some new root tips starting and a lot of new growths that will help the orchids. So I didn't choose a very big pot because this orchid usually doesn't produces the roots in length in down, but more on the upper part of the medium. So, and I think it's too small. Yep, it is too small. I need a bigger pot, so I will come back. Alright, so I believe this is better. This is a bit bigger in diameter, and indeed it does fit my orchid. So now I'm going to add these leca beads inside the pot, and I'm actually going to put the roots which were aerial inside too. Anyway, that is a very airy zone because they will be only on the top, so they might actually survive. But until then, we are going to talk about its care, because this orchid doesn't have a very good root system. I really want to make sure she receives a lot of calcium and magnesium. So other than my MSU fertilizer, I will put some more calcium in it, and once every 2 weeks I will put only calcium and magnesium. As I said, 80 ppm of my god, 80 ppm of calcium and 40 of magnesium. When I will use MSU, I will put about only 40 ppm of calcium, because the MSU already has very good amount of nutrients there. This orchid is a moisture loving orchid. She will drink quite a lot of water, so you should make sure that if you are keeping her in organic medium, she is basically almost constantly moist and she never dries up. This orchid will require a fair bit amount of light, but not direct sunlight. Her leaves are quite stiff, even very similar to cattleys, let's say, and I really love how modulated they are, very attractive ones. The spike is sequential bloomer. It is a sequential bloomer, so she is dropping this one, but she is preparing a new body in here. Let me show you. Here we are having a new bud. This orchid usually is in bloom for a very long amount of time, so you need to make sure you repot her when you see new roots, not when you see blooms. It actually doesn't matter if she's in bloom or not, because she will most probably always have a bud growing, but it is important that she is in active growth at the base, so she's growing new pseudobulbs and new roots. In my case, she does have new root tips starting, and I will actually see if I will leave it like this and add more leca beads, or if I will bring up some moss and put it in here and make sure she's really moist at the base. I will think about that. For fertilizer, as I said, I use MSU, and being in semi-hydro, she will receive every single time I water her 350 ppm of fertilizer. So if I will put calcium as well, it will be 310 ppm of MSU and 40 ppm of calcium. If you want to foliar feed this orchid, you should do it in the night time, because she has a thick cuticle and the pores open up on the underside of the leaf only in the night time. So you need to make sure you foliar feed her at the right time, so you don't just waste the fertilizer. In my case, I do believe I will apply some fish mix or crop max on the underside of the leaves in the nighttime, because the orchid needs the as much care as possible in these times, because she is rather sickish, let's say, so I need to help her a bit. As for temperature, this orchid is not fussy at all. She would be happy anywhere in between 18 and 28 Celsius. Of course, she can resist higher or lower temperatures like this, but not for very long amounts of time. And with that being said, guys, I think this is pretty much all for today. I am still going to think if I add leca beads or moss on the top. I will see. Now I'm going to water her, and yeah, see you all next time. Bye!